Okay, so let's talk about the final updates to the Longlegs website, the birthday murders, and everything we've learned now. We've been covering this for a month now, and I think we're getting close to our finale with all of the Longlegs content. So before we get into it, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We've covered Longlegs extensively for the past month. I do want to make one more video on Longlegs this week, so just talking about all of the crimes that they committed and all of that, and could there be another film in the works? I don't know. But before we get into it, hit the subscribe button, notification bell. 35,000 subscribers is our goal. Let's look at what they finally updated to the website. So before I really get into it, I want to let you know that there really isn't new developments or anything like that. It's mainly a reader's column. I'm going to read some of them and just go over them a bit, but I will not go through everything because I feel like that would just take too long. But I just found some of these interesting and wanted to go over some of them. So that's what I'm doing here. So where we last left off, they said Longlegs is still out there. Of course, after watching the film, by the way, spoilers for the film throughout the whole video. If you don't want spoilers, check out my review. That's the only thing that doesn't have spoilers, but let's talk spoilers for Longlegs. So we have the readers column, which got updated, where we have readers sending in questions and the website writer answering them. It says, I'd like to give a special thanks to an anonymous reader who forwarded me a strange vinyl record they found buried in their neighborhood with the symbols on the cover that resemble the ones on the letters left behind Longlegs. The forensic experts I'm in contact with have estimated its original pressing date was in the mid-1960s, but there has been no sign of who's produced the record or its original origin. I believe that must be the record vinyl that they were giving out at the premiere at Los Angeles. So Christy Karras writes, why did you make this website? Which is something we've wanted to know as well. The person says, I've grown sufficiently frustrated with the lackluster efforts of the local Oregon police departments, who I believe could have connected the dots far earlier had they been competent enough. With the limited access I recently received to files from the FBI contact, I thought the World Wide Web might be able to notice things I hadn't been able to yet. Matt wrote in to say, how long do you think it will take for another family to follow the same fate? To what the person says, never. I dearly hope. That is my intent for making this web log in the first place. Somebody else wrote, number one, Longlegs has something against Catholic people. Maybe he suffered abuse when he was a kid and that's why he targets these families. Number two, he might have scoped out the homes for a while before making his move. I don't know how he'd do it without alerting the families though, but it makes the most sense. And number three, what if Longlegs sends the fathers his letters and then that's what makes them carry out the murder? Maybe it's blackmail or something. He tells them to do this and where to put the letters. That's written by Paula Gorblikas. So the writer says points 2 and 3 are fantastic perspectives I hadn't considered before. I myself am unsure of how he was able to evade notice of the family, but at least we have the community silence of the station wagon near the Wormwood killings. Mick Henry says, I just wanted to know if you find it odd that Longlegs purposely chooses to target openly religious families, specifically families with the Catholic denomination. Apart from that, it's obvious he is quite fond of families with young daughters. I wonder what's the big deal about that. Anyways, I think it's safe to say that this is all stemming from some religious aspect. It seems that he carries a deep hatred for Christian figures and the arrogance in believing in God is sovereign. To what they responded, Longlegs certainly looks to have an issue with Catholicism. I agree. We then have another person here, Ethan Barker, saying, could the church be involved? These people all were Christians, and people can do insane things in the name of God. Maybe Longlegs was a preacher or a priest or some other religious figure, making him trustworthy to the families and allowing him to worm his way into the minds. Just a theory. That comes from Ethan Barker. And the writer of the website responds by saying, the investigation thoroughly examined the members of each parish the victimized families attended. All congregants and members of the church cleared any suspicions, and none of the priests were found to have any criminal histories, violent or otherwise. So of course we know that they weren't able to get to Ruth because Ruth just wore the nun habit but wasn't really part of any church, and that's what got these families to be very okay with somebody bringing them a strange gift for their daughter because they thought it was from the church. They trusted this nun, and I think that's what Longlegs was taking advantage of. Somebody else says, were the majority of the done with the weapons other than the ones used for the murders? This is the one that kept thinking about while looking at the cases. I'm very curious if there's a meaning behind it, and that comes from Owen Amy. They said, I am just mystified by this fact as you are. Somebody else said, just a thought, was the gap between killings 1974 and 1987, because that's 13 years, could also be a significant number for some satanic shit. That came from Jessica Nickel. To what they said, while there hasn't been any sufficient connections between Longlegs' absence and pre-existing satanic rituals, it definitely calls for a second look. And I talked about it in my review with spoilers and all of that live I did, that I believe Longlegs just took a break while the time that Lee was away, maybe getting FBI training or going to college and things like that. Once once Lee showed up again, that's when everything started again. Dragonborn says, I have a theory that Longlegs is attempting to recreate an event from his past. Do you have any idea if there was a murder involving that may have left a son alive? It would have had been at least a few decades before the first murder, but it could result in a solid lead. It says, I'll have to look into this, Dragonborn. As far as I'm aware, the only murder investigated in this period involved the families with the little girls. Somebody else says, my husband and I have also noticed that the number of stab wounds increase each case and that many of the names associated with the families or even their last names are biblical in nature. Applewhite, the apple, forbidden fruit. Wormwood, clover. The only place it's mentioned in the Bible is in Proverbs 16:24-25. Gracious speech is like clover honey, good taste to the soul, quick energy for the body. There's a way that looks harmless enough. Look again. It leads straight to hell. Damascus being the first murder and the road on which Saul was blinded by Jesus on his way to murder Christians and a few others, and that comes from Morgan Bastino Brown. The writer of the website says, we collectively agree that Longlegs is inspired by biblical references, but as to the pattern of wounding, we have very little understanding of why. The symbols left behind are certainly biblical, but we ought to re-examine the cases with the perspective in mind. Avery says, I believe I can jump on top of Isaac's theories and suggest that Longlegs is a father of a deceased family. I believe he could be cursing God for what happened, and that's why he had turned to Satanism to purify the houses of people who have what he doesn't. I believe his delusions are an attempt to bring his family back, and he kills for this purpose, to be a vessel for the spirit of the dead, written by Avery. And they say, interesting theory. I certainly agree we're dealing with a dangerous and delusional individual. Somebody else says, hello, I think that Longlegs attacks families with innocence. Satanic cults tend to come after the innocents for sacrifice, and that comes from Taylor Grace. To what they say, while the involvement of a cult seems dubious, this is a fascinating commonality amongst the cases in which the targeted families were quite pious individuals. Somebody called Taylor Peterson says, do you have any eyewitness accounts of what the suspect might look like? Written in by Taylor Peterson. And somebody says, the only eyewitness of a suspect occurred when neighbors spotted an elderly woman near the Weir home. Somebody else says, question, how do we know Longlegs is male? Maybe a female? Written in by Chris Coyne. While the person who wrote this website says we technically don't, historical precedent is what leads us to believe Longlegs is a male, as there haven't been little references to serial murders committed by women. It does draw questions as to who the elderly woman seen outside the Weir home was. Of course, we know Longlegs' appearance of long gray hair could be the reason people thought that was an elderly woman. So somebody else says, I believe Longlegs had a daughter who was brutally murdered and the murderer was never found, which drove Longlegs over the edge and resulted in them setting out to take other people's daughters in revenge. That was written in by Dawn Phillips. To what the writer of the website says, I'm going to look into the history of child murders in Oregon and get back to you on whether there's anything with substance to this theory. By the way, at this point, I skipped over some of these because I felt like a lot of them were things we've already discussed, but you could definitely check them out on the website if you want. I just didn't want to make this video really long because it would have been almost over 20 minutes or so if I went and read everything. But yeah, just want to let you know that. We just have one more question asking, I'm just asking, who are you? We don't have a name or anything. I understand if you wish to remain anonymous for online purposes, but I feel really weird you know all of this and aren't giving your name out. Written by Laurel Lie, which they say, I'm just a friend of a friend of a friend, and this friend wants me to stay. Yeah, that's how it ends. And then there's like some files, and the files all read a T-Rex song, which is already, we know Longlegs a fan of T-Rex. And the whole thing, I'm just a friend of a friend of a friend, and this friend wants me to stay, really has me feeling this is somebody connected to Longlegs or Longlegs themselves, maybe Roof or something like that. But honestly, that comes to an end for everything here that we have for Longlegs now. I'm very curious to know what y'all thought about this whole website itself. The last part, I will say, felt a bit anticlimactic, right? To just end it with like a reader's column and people's questions. It's kind of interesting though to read them all back and then watch Longlegs and know what happened as well. And you know, it's just an interesting way to finally put this all to rest. So yeah, I don't know where we go from here with all that. But I do want to tell you, we are making a video talking about all of the crimes that were committed by Longlegs, all of that. I will also be talking about it maybe in one more live next weekend. Well, this weekend, and then we'll put a rest to Longlegs for now because we still got a ton of other horror movies to talk about. There's a ton of things to be excited for still to come in July and August. Oddity will be releasing this weekend, but when it comes to Longlegs, that might just be it. That seems to be where they're leaving the website, and I don't know, they had a big opening. I'm pretty sure they're making their budget and more back already, so Longlegs might be put on the back burner for now. Could there be a sequel? Possibly. I never doubt Hollywood when they see the big bucks come in. That's usually a telltale sign that, hey, let's make another one. But let me know what you think about the Longlegs website, the updates and all of that. Was it something you enjoyed watching? I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you liked following us along as well throughout every single update video we made about the website. It was fun. It was a good time. We ended kind of anticlimactic with that, I will say, but it is what it is. Anyways, as always, that is going to do it for me. Thank you so much. If you're subscribed or you just subscribed due to Longlegs, appreciate you. We do a ton of other things, so don't worry. We got a ton coming. Stay tuned. And as always, subscribe, hit that notification bell. 35,000 subscribers is our goal. I'll see y'all next time. Stay safe, stay positive.